Hello and welcome to this Jmeter beginner tutorial series. So today is the 14th session and we are going to understand about functions and variables in Jmeter. So functions and variables are thought to be a little complex elements in Jmeter, but actually it is not, and it is a very simple concept if we understand the actual crux of these topics. Okay, so let us start by functions. So how do we define functions in Jmeter, right? So we can say any method that can populate a field in any other element of a test plan. So function is any method or special values that can be used to populate any other field in any other test element of a test plan. Okay, so if we look at the syntax of a function, so it is like we start with a dollar and then a curly braces start and we give double underscore. So underscore is two times and then we give the function name, okay, and curly braces close. Now this is how we give a function name, and this is an example of a function that does not have any arguments. Suppose we have an argument, then what we will do is the syntax will be same, but we will also have arguments given in brackets like this: variable 1, variable 2, and so on, right? So we have both kind of functions in Jmeter which have arguments and which do not have arguments, right? uh, So if we have to define a variable, then what is a variable in Jmeter? Okay, so we can say variable is like a container that can store a value which can be referenced by any other element within the thread. Okay, so variable is something which can store a value, and this value can be referenced by any other element within a thread, right? So this is very important within the thread. Okay, because variables are always local to a thread. Local to a thread, you cannot reference a variable which is created in thread 1 in thread 2. You cannot reference that variable, right? So this is what variable is. And if we look at the syntax, it is dollar and then curly braces start, variable name, and curly brace stop. Okay, so this is what a function is and what a variable is and what are their syntaxes, right? This is a very short theory. We will look at it in details in the practical. And one more thing that we should take care is function name is both function as variable are case sensitive. Okay, generally our functions and variables are case sensitive, and in functions the naming is camel casing. Okay, camel casing is the format of naming. The if we have two words in a function, the first word start with a lowercase and the second word starts with an uppercase. This is called camel casing. Okay, so this is about some syntax. Okay, now let us look at some of the functions that we commonly used in Jmeter. Okay, let us start with a very basic log function. Okay, and how will be the syntax? It will be dollar double underscore log and then whatever message we want to print within the brackets and close of the curly braces, right? Let us go to our Jmeter and look at some practical examples. I'll create a thread group and let me create a sampler and let me create a HTTP request. Okay, and for the HTTP request, let us go to some website. Let us go to lifecharger.org. Okay, and I will copy this from here and give it here. So a very simple HTTP request. Okay, and I'm also going to copy this thread 3 times. Okay, so now we have 3 threads, right? I'll give this as thread group 1, and this one is HTTP request 1. This is thread group 2, HTTP request 2. This is thread group 3 and HTTP request 3. Okay, so now we have 3 thread groups and each thread group has a HTTP request. Let us create a listener to test our test plan. Let us add view results in let us add summary report, and I will also add one more listener view results in table. Okay, so if I start my test, I want to save as well. I'll just save it. So if I start my test now, yes, everything is okay. My test is running fine. Okay, now let us look at our log listener. So what I'm going to do is, in place of this label HTTP request 1, I'm going to say dollar log, and message I'm saying hello world, and close the curly braces, right? So in place of the label HTTP request 1, now I actually have a function, and let us run and see what is the result. I'm running it now. So did you see, in place of the label, instead of putting some uh, name which was earlier HTTP request 1, it is actually printing hello world, right? You can see it here as well. It is actually printing hello world, right? So this is what the use of function log is, and we can actually uh, use it with some static data as well. So I can say label and this function. So if I run it now, so see, it is saying label hello world. Okay, so this is how we can use this log function. Then we have other functions, like let us say we have time. Okay, so what I'm going to do, in place of log, I'm saying time, and time I want is in dd mm y and hours, minutes and seconds, right? I'm running it now, and you can see it is actually printing the date and time. So this is 13th 8 2016 and the time is 21:12:10. Okay, so this is the use of time. We have other functions, like we have thread num. So I can say directly thread number. So this function does not have any arguments, it will just print out the thread number, right? So it will, you can say, see it, this is one thread, right? So let's suppose we are running it for 5 users. Now if I run this, now you can see label 1, label 2. So this is first thread, second thread, third, fourth and fifth, and so on, right? So this is how we use it. Then we have some other kind of functions, like we can actually do a sum, int sum, right? So suppose I want to do a sum, I will say dollar int sum, and I want to add 2 and 3. Okay, so the result of this function should be 5, right? So let us run it and see. Now you can see it is actually printing 5. Okay, so this is how we use functions. There are other lists which I will just show you, and let us also quickly learn about variables. So suppose I have another thread group within this, another request within this thread. Okay, and in this particular HTTP request, I want to store the result of 2 and 3 into some variable. So I will say uh, result. So what it will do is it will add 2 and 3 and it will store it here in results. And this result is something I can use anywhere within the thread group. So I am using it here, and the syntax is dollar curly braces and the variable name. Okay, so this particular request should show the result of this particular addition. Okay, let me run it and see. Yeah, so see, this has been printed, 5 has been printed 10 times, right? Because for this request as well as for this request, the result, the label name is coming as 5, right? Now let's suppose I want to mix and match functions and as well as variables, right? So suppose I want to write here a function dollar int sum, and here I am taking 5, and the second value is not a static value but a variable. So I will say dollar result. Okay, so what I'm saying is add 5 to whatever is the result of this particular addition, which is 2 and 3. So the result here should be 5 plus 5, which is 10, right? Let me run it and see. And yes, you can see this is showing us as 10, right? So this is how we can you know use functions, and there is a long list. If you want to use other functions, what we can do is go to options and go to function helper dialog. Okay, this will open the function helper dialog for you. Okay, and here you can find all the functions which are available in Jmeter. Okay, all the predefined functions are here. Suppose I want to know about int sum, just click it here. Okay, and click on help, and you will get all the details of about this function. What does this function do, what is the syntax, how do you can use it, how you can refer it and add a variable. And in fact you have all the functions here, right? You have a list of entire functions. These are the information type of functions, then we have input type of functions, then we have calculations and variables and so on, right? So you can go to any function and read about it and use it into your test plan. Okay, you can also go to Apache Jmeter site. Okay, I'm going to Apache Jmeter. This is the official site, and I'm going to use a manual. And if you see point number 21 functions, here again you have the same list, right? These are the information kind of functions, and we looked at log from here. We also looked at thread num. Then we have input type. Okay, we have calculation. We looked at int sum. Okay, then we have all these properties, strings and variables and so on, right? So it is a long list. I cannot cover all the functions and variables in this session, but yes, you have a list of how to find your functions, and you also have uh, a way to check what functions you need, how to use it, and then use it in your test plan. Okay, so this was all about functions and variables in Jmeter. Hope you like it. Happy learning. Thank you.